means nothing. When other people think of love, they think about romance, kissing, and affection. To a tennis player, we feel awful when we hear love, because that literally means we have no points. So let's start with the basics of tennis, and then use that knowledge to compare the two styles of play. So when you're playing tennis, you hit a tennis ball back and forth over a net. You can only let the ball bounce 0 or 1 times on your court before hitting it back to your opponents. John Barnaby says in his book, Racket Work, the object is to place the ball where one's opponent cannot reach it. So if the ball bounces more than 1 time on your side, or you return it and you hit it outside of the lines, your opponent gets a point. So let's talk about the lines. This is the double sideline, so it includes the doubles alleys, and it includes all the space on the tennis court. When you play singles, you don't add the alleys, and you only use the inner lines. This is the baseline, which the ball can never go past or it's out. This is the service line, which you need to put the ball in front of when you serve. And this is the service box, the specific part where it has to go in when you serve. This is no man's land. It's not the greatest spot to be in. Usually if you're in that part and you hit it, it's not going to be a great hit. So tennis lingo is a little different, and we don't really like counting 1 to 4. So when you have love, that means 0. And then when you get a point, it's 15. Second point is 30. And then 3 points is 40. And then you can both get 30, and both get 40. And then when you're at 40 all, it's called deuce, which you're tied. And then you play that point, and then you're either add in or add out. So you have the advantage, which you're 1 point up if you're add in, and then 1 point down if you're add out. And then every time you're going to play a point, you have to call out the score. Your score first, and then your opponent's. So these are different sides of the tennis court. The deuce side is where the arrows are pointing, and that means you are tied, or you are up by 2, depending on what point you're at. And then this one's the add side, which you would stand on when you're add in or add out after deuce, which is you're either up by 1 or up by 3. So let's go through the shots that we take in tennis. A ground stroke is where you stand at the baseline. A volley is where you're standing at the net, and you don't really have a backswing or anything, you just block it back. A half volley is when it bounces, but you hit it quickly after the bounce, so it's a mixture between a volley and a ground stroke. And then a lob is when you hit it over the other person's head. And then an overhead is how you return a lob, if you're close enough. And then you have a forehand or a backhand. So forehand is with your dominant hand, and then backhand is with your non-dominant, where you usually use 2 hands. So when you play singles, there's 1 person from each team on the court, and you use the singles lines, which are the ones that we left before, not using the doubles alleys. You play to 6 games, which is the point after 40 is a game, and then you get the first to 6, and then you play the best 2 out of 3 sets. So the first person can win 2 sets. And then you always have to win by 2. So doubles is there's 2 people on the court for each team, and you use the double alleys, so you use every single inch of the tennis court. So this time you only play to 8 games, and then you only play this once. So you don't do it again, you just play to 8 games, and you also have to win by 2. So here's the comparison, the basic comparisons of the different number of players, 1 and 2, the different lines that you use. You play to a different number of games, you play to a different number of sets, but you always have to win by 2. So the team aspect, there's my tennis team. Singles, you play by yourself. You have to get every ball, you have to figure out what stroke to use and how to hit it and where to put it on the other person's court. But your score, your win or loss, goes to your team. So your game matters to your team, but they're not on the court with you as you're playing. And for doubles, you have a teammate, so you're physically playing with your team on the court, and you have to decide who gets that shot and who's better at the shot, or where you're positioned if you're better at getting the ball. And then your win or loss also goes back to the team score. So they're both a team sport, but you can just play by yourself or play with another teammate. So playing doubles is such a different game than playing singles. The style of play is different, how you hit it is different, and then positioning on the court is different. So if I work from here over, this is the person serving, and the person who's playing with them stands closer to the net, ready to get a volley from this person who has to return it. And then this person, who is on the opposite team of the person serving, stands at the service line, and they look to see if the ball is in the service box, which you have to be in. And so the style of play is different because if this person hits it right to this person who can really hit a good volley or overhead, they can kill it and then the point's over. So a lot of the times you use cross-court shots, which is diagonal shots. And in singles, you can stand wherever you want, and you can use any shot you want because that person